Okay, so just for the people who are listening, the video recording thing crashed, so we don't have the first part of today. So now we are gonna check these two exercises that are for the group by and summarize section. So it says using this data frame. Okay, I'm gonna use that data frame. Use group by and summarize to find the mean, minimum, maximum of this variable for each origin type. Okay, so I take this data frame and then I think they want me to group by origin type. Okay, so I don't remember. Let me check the variable edges. What is origin type? Okay, origin type, perfect. So I'm gonna group by origin type, and then they want me to summarize. So I'm gonna summarize, and now I need to create the name of a new variable, and they want 3 variables. Okay, so I'm gonna create mean, that is gonna be the mean of number of pigs. And I remember I don't have any NAs because I checked before, so I don't bother to write down remove NAs because I know I don't have any. Then they also want minimum, so that's the minimum of number of pigs. I click tab, so it populates it by clicking tab in my keyboard. And then the maximum is gonna be the maximum of, I do NB, and now I click tab in my keyboard, and that's how I populate that. Perfect. And also add the number of observations. Okay, well, let's see first if this runs. Okay, farmer, origin type, farmer market, mean, minimum, maximum. Okay, it's fine, but I am missing this. Add the number of observations. So let's look at this. I did it before. Oops. Question man N, and it's gonna give us this. So this is how you use it, and I don't know if it's not being very helpful or what, but then I go down here and I say, okay, how are they using it? So they have group by, and they have these 2 variables. Then they have summarize, create this variable and n. Okay, so it's just there, nothing else. Mutate this variable n equal to n. Okay, so I guess that mutate is taking this variable that probably is in my data set, and then it's creating a new column with this name that equals this. Is that right? Yeah. Okay, sounds like it. And then I'm filtering this variable by this. Okay, so it really seems like it's just like this. So I'm copying this, and I'm gonna say, okay, what happens if I just put it there? Okay, it kind of worked. This sounds like the sum. Let's see, 267 plus 28. Okay, and that's the number of rows of edges. So let's see if it's true. Dimension of edges. Okay, so the number of rows, this is the number of rows of my data frame. And if we sum the number of farm and market, we have the same thing. So I'm double checking that it did what I wanted, but now this name is really ugly. So I'm gonna call it count equal that. And I'm just replicating the same thing, the same grammar or syntax that I had here. So let's see if that works now. Perfect. Okay, so this is what the exercise wanted us to do. Now for the second exercise, when, with the month, did the largest transfer of pigs occurred? I'm gonna go here because we have different ways of doing it, and I don't know which one you used. Maybe you use another one that I didn't even find. Here I took the name of my data frame, and then I grouped by month, and then I summarized and I created a column named largest, and that's gonna be the maximum number of pigs. So here it's saying, okay, give me the data frame by month. Okay, so I expect to have a column that is month, like from January to December, and then summarize and just give me the maximum number of peaks. Okay, and then arrange in descending order this new variable that I created, and group by true, because we remember we have group by and summarize. Okay, so if I run this, it's giving me a new column. Okay, it's not order, so we'll have to deal with that if we want to. I'm not going to deal with that now, but we have all the months here. We have the 12 months of the year, and it's giving me the largest shipment per month. Okay, so which one is the largest? Okay, I sorted it by descending order, so I know that the largest is this one. So now I know that July is the month that had the largest number of peaks being transferred. Okay, in our situation it will be the largest number of people being transferred from one hospital to another, but this could be a piece of code that we could use. Similarly, you have this code here, and I made a note because here we're using group by, but it's not followed by summarize. So arrange does not need this argument here. This argument is only if you have group by followed by summarize. Actually, if I put this factor there, this argument, sorry, there, it's gonna mess up things, and it's not gonna give me the results we expect. And you can try yourself by running these two codes, these two pieces of codes. Okay, so you wanna have a break, and then we continue? What we have left is gonna be count. Okay, this chunk here, the 7 and 8, are the ones that I'm not gonna go over. But you have all the documentation, I'll show you. And then just like NAs, this is really, really quick. And then at the end I did a summary of the workshop, like what everything means and what the functions we've seen work. So we don't have much left, but you want a short break? Mm-hmm. Perfect, so let's do that. Let's do this. Okay, so let's go with count. I was mentioning that here there's going to be something that I don't expect, and it's not working properly, and I don't know why. But anyway, so count also help us create frequency tables. We can have one factor, and here I say, okay, take surveys and then count how many observations we have according to sex. Let me start this. I'm clicking entering so you can see it more clear. So we see for male we have 17,000, for female 15,000, and we have almost 2,000 NAs. This is the same warning message as before, so I don't care. And then there's another argument that you can put in count. So if I check $count and I click enter, what is happening here is like, okay, we have count, the same function for two different packages. Which one you want help with? So there is one count for dplyr and another one for plyr. So I want the one for dplyr. So I click here. So this is the function that I'm using. Okay. You can read through it. You have all the arguments here and the meaning of the arguments over here. I focus on this one. Sort false. Sort if true. Okay, so the one that is here I already see it's false. This one here is the default value. If I don't say anything, art is going to use sort equal false. But if I want it to be true, it will sort the output in descending order of n. And what is n? Name n. This one here, name n. We can say. Let's go and see the examples. Count. This is a data frame. They took it and then they did count on a variable, which is exactly what we've done here. Let's see if they're using the sort function here. Okay, so we have here they are using the data set Star Wars. This is data that it's, if you check in the console, I am in the console now, data Star Wars, it is there. It is embedded in the Tidyverse package, okay? Tidyverse or dplyr, I'm not sure. So if I run that, I just loaded the data set Star Wars. So I can check head Star Wars, and this is the beginning of this data set that we just loaded. Okay, so that's the data frame that I'm using. So let's say, what if I run this? I'm copying this and pasting it here in my console because I want to see what that did. Star Wars, take Star Wars, then do the count function for both species and homeworld and sort by true. Okay, so it's sorting here, sorting by true. Let's see what that means again. Sort by true will sort output in descending order of n's. Okay, so n is the count. I can see that here. Then I'm walking you through the process because this is how I would think. So n is here, descending order. Okay, the largest is here and it goes down, and it's organizing it according to these two variables. Okay, that is sort true. What if I would have said, and here I'm doing Control V because I had copy pasted it. What if I say false? Or if I don't say anything at all, which is the same because sort false is the default value. Okay, so it kind of did a similar thing, but this is not sorted at all. Okay, as you can see, it's probably the same table. We could explore it further, but it is the same table. It's just like the table only shows us the first 10 arguments. Okay, but here you can see it's not sorted at all. So let's try the same thing with count, with our data set. We take surveys and then we do count for sex, and I sort by true. So let me run this one again. This one is sort by false, okay, because it's the default. So what would you expect to see if I run this one? Males first because it has a larger number. I agree. It's like, okay, wait a minute. These two are the same. How can it be this is sort true? Sort equals false, sorry. So I'm just gonna type sort equal false and check it out again, like what's happening. Okay, sort equal false. This shouldn't be ordered like this. So I don't know what's happening. It's like it's not behaving and I don't have an answer for this. I looked into that, I didn't find an answer. I don't know if this is a bug or what's happening, but what I would expect is like if I run this one here or this one, which are equivalent, I would actually expect to see this one first because F, in alphabetical order, F goes before M. So I don't know why this is not sorting it in a different way. When I run these two, we should be seeing a difference. We should be seeing these reversed, and we are not seeing them reversed. So I don't know what the problem here was, but that's why I wanted to give you the example of Star Wars so you would understand what this is supposed to do. Okay? Questions?
So it's sorting the variable for sex, not the count, right?
It's sorting the variable for, it's telling you how many, so count is telling you how many observations we have for each level of sex. So we have male and female, so it's telling you how many observations we have for males and how many for female. And sort, it should be descending order of n, from higher to lower, and n is this, is the count. So here in the Star Wars example, we see that it is descending order. And we say false, it is not descending order. However, here, it's always descending order. And I don't understand why. Because I would think if it's not descending order, then you go for alphabetical order, but it's not. Maybe this is a very, very small data frame, and if I had it a little bit bigger, I could explore better what's happening. But this was a behavior I was not expecting. Probably I am missing something, but it could be that it's a bug. But yeah, most probably I'm missing something, I don't know what. So if you find out what it is, let me know. Okay, so we have we can do the same thing as this first one here, count sex. Okay, with group by and summarize. We can group by sex and then summarize, create a new column that is count, and that's going to be n, which is the count. We did something similar already. Okay, so the output is exactly the same thing. We can also combine factors and say count this the combination of sex with species. Okay, so how many males and how many males of this species do we have? We have this many. Okay, question? We can arrange the table that we have above, and we can do it in alphabetical order of the levels of the species that we have and in descending order of the count. So that will be take surveys, then tell me how many observations we have for the combination of sex and species, which is what we just ran, and then arrange by species and by count in descending order. Okay, so here is giving me the combination of sex and the first species, and then the same here, sex and the second species, and it's sorting n in descending order, so from higher to lower for the combination of this species and gender, for higher to lower for the combination of this species and gender, and like that for the rest of the table. Okay, so you have now, I think, 1 or 2, 3 exercises. Okay, but I think they are short. I think, maybe not, probably not. So just do those, and then we can correct them together. You want to do one by one, or do the 3 of them and then check them out, the 3 of them at the same time? Do that? Okay, so I'll give you time to do the 3 of them. Okay, so let's see what they want, and let's see the solutions. So using edges, how many transferred happened on March? So there are a couple of ways I thought about. Maybe you had one of them. The first one I actually think about is this one here. I run it. It's this one. This is quicker, this is easier to read, easier to write, okay? So how many happened on March? So I go to March, and there were 16 transfers, okay? If I can also do this one, group by month, and once it's grouped by month, give me a column that is called number of transfers, and that's gonna have the count of transfers, okay? This is a little bit more convoluted, but it's the same result. Okay, in March we had 16 transfers. The second exercise said use that same data frame again, and now tell me how many pigs there are. How many pigs were transferred in March? So before we were asking for the number of transactions that happened, and now is the number of pigs. So here were the number of links that happened, and here will be the number of pigs, the total number of pigs within each of those links. So we want to sum the number of pigs of each of those links that happen. So there are a few ways to do it, and I took edges, and then I group by month as I did before, but now I count the sum of those pigs, okay, per month. So if I run this one, I get the sum of the number of pigs. So if you don't like this, you can always give it another name, sum of pigs, okay? And if I run it, it looks a little bit prettier. Okay, so we have by month, we have the count, the number of transactions per month, and we have the sum of pigs that were sent or shipped in each of those months. Okay, we can also do the same thing by starting the same way. Sorry, it's the same. It's the same thing, but yeah, I changed the name of the column. Did you think about a different way of doing it? You had similar things? Yeah.
I tried month equals March.
Month equal 1. So let's think about it. If you want to do only the month of March, what are we trying to do there? There is a function we learn, filter, exactly. So filter is filtering a specific value for a specific column. So let's say we can group by month maybe, and then I can say filter, I don't know if it's gonna work, but we can try. Filter by month, and I want it to be March. I'm not sure if I need the double quote or not because this is Tidyverse. Okay, so month equal March must not be named. Do you need two of those? Maybe I do need two of those. Okay, let's see. Okay, now it's giving me, what is it giving me? It grouped by month, which maybe didn't make a lot of sense, but now I'm filtering by month and that's it. It's not summarizing anything. So what did I do wrong? This doesn't look like a summary. This looks just like my data frame filtered by month. So what am I missing? What did I do wrong in this code? Hey, wait a minute. This code only has 3 lines. I want to run 4. So did I miss one line?
Summarize.
I missed summarize, but now summarize is not working. Object number of pigs not found. How come not? Exactly. I need the pipe. I forgot the pipe. So let's see what happens now. Hey! It gave it to me. Yay! So really good. I didn't think about this one. So thank you, Connie. That is much better. Because
yeah, that's something I think you would need to do relatively frequently. If I mean, 12 months is easy, but
exactly.
sometimes you have many more variables and you need to know.
Exactly. I'm a really lazy coder, so as soon as I get what I want, it's like, okay, fine. But definitely, sure. If you have another variable that has like 1,000 different levels, you're not going to be able to see it just like this.
Yeah.
So perfect. Really good. Last one. Using nodes, create a frequency table of premises, type, and scale. I mean, frequency table can mean so many things. But what I wanted you to do is just like give me the number of observations of this combination. So we have 11 farms that are backyard. Backyard is like they're small scale farms. We have 27 farms that are industrial, that are large farms. And we have one market that is a market and one slaughterhouse that is a slaughterhouse. Okay? Perfect. So we're almost done. I'm gonna skip quickly through chunk 4. But I want to show it to you first so you can walk through it alone. We're going to be talking about 2 other functions, spread and gather. And what these 2 functions do is like they convert data from long format to the wide format. So for example, looking at spread, this column here is all for spread and this is all for gather. Looking at spread, it's making wide data from long data. So we have this data here. This way of presenting the data is called long format. And sometimes we want to transfer it to a wide format. These 2 tables have exactly the same information. Okay, it's just the way of presenting it, it's a little bit different. We're going to do we're going to use this spread function as any other function we'll be using, like filter, group by, summarize within the dplyr thing. And this will be the way we would do it. We take our data frame, that it's in green. Then we have a key column. Okay, well, then, sorry, pipe. So we take the data frame, then we want to spread our data from the long format to the wide format. So we want to spread it. And we are going to have a key column that is the variable whose values will become new column names. So we're taking them from here, okay, and all this is going to become a column name, okay. So that variable is the one that is going to be the key. And then we are going to have another argument here that is value. And value is the column variable whose values will fill the new column variables. So we have the key, new column, okay, these biomes and Caetodipus. We had them here as values. Now we are transferring them to name columns. And the value that we're going to put inside of each of those cells is coming from this value column. Okay, so we're taking this value and we're putting it in there. And like that, we're going to go from long to wide data. Gather is the same, but the other way around. And I will let you explore it on your own, but it's basically the same thing. And we can have some extra, we have an extra argument. That is the one we use to fill the key variable here, or maybe we want to drop it. So there are some exercises for you. That's chunk 4. Okay. And I am installing a new package here that is called Magic, because I think I already mentioned I'm a tiny little bit dyslexic, so all this data transfer thing messes up a lot with my, so it gave me an error, okay, because I didn't install it in this computer, so I'm installing it. It messes up a lot with my brain, so that's why I think it's better if you look at it on your own, because otherwise I'm going to make it more complicated. So I'm installing this Magic package, and that is going to help me a little bit to be able to mimic this data a little bit more easier. So now the package is installed. So I'm calling the library, okay? And that library, what it's doing is letting me read pictures, okay? And I'm reading a picture that is this one. This is the picture that you had in the PowerPoint. So now, while you are running this code, you can look at this table, this image at the same time, and then maybe you will be able to understand better what we are doing. So I'm going to let you do it on your own. If you don't want to see it here, or if it's just too big, you can always jump to the PowerPoint. You have the same thing here. Okay. I will let you run those and understand what it's doing. Yeah, those two main reasons why I'm not doing it. First, because I'm going to confuse you more if I try to explain it with words. I know. And the second one is like, I'm not really sure if you're having to do these transformations, but in case you have to, I wanted to give you the code for that, okay? There are exercises, there are solutions for those exercises, you have everything there. Now, finally, the last part we have, we're going to talk about NAs in dplyr. I'm going to teach you how to export a data frame to a CSV file, how to quit R, which you already know, and then I have a summary of the workshop in the code. So you can go here to NA and dplyr, and it's basically the same thing as we already saw. We have this table. We are asking if there are any NAs, and it seems that there are some NAs in these variables, okay? Also there are NAs in the variable gender, sex. So these are functions that we already saw before when we were working with data frames. And this one here, I think this one is new. But basically, those are functions that are removing the NAs. Okay, so we take the data frame surveys and then we omit the NAs. Okay, and we have this table with this many rows and this many columns. That is going to do exactly the same thing as this other piece of code. And now I'm going to load this Tidyverse library. It's a different library, but you have the package installed already because it's the package Tidyverse. And I'm using the drop NA function from that data frame. And it's basically doing the same thing. I'm dropping the NA. If you want to filter, to drop only the NAs of a specific vector or column, you already know how to do it. This is a reminder. You are filtering by everything that is not NA in the column sex. Okay? So this line here will retrieve will give you an output of the database surveys without NAs in the variable sex. Okay? Any questions? So now if you want to export your data frame into a CSV, it's really easy. You just have to write the function write underscore CSV. You write the name of the object that you created, and this is one of the objects we created before. And you specify a path. That means where you want it to be stored. So it is going to be stored in your computer in your working directory, okay? You can change this, but this is how I do it. I do it directly in my working directory where I'm working with this data. And if I don't remember what my working directory is, I say get my working directory. Okay, so it's going to be stored in my computer here. And this is the name that I'm going to give that new CSV. Remember, you need to write down .csv. Otherwise, it's going to save a file and you're not going to be able to open it because you don't know which extension it has. So you don't know how to open it. If you check the documentation for write CSV, you have plenty of information here and plenty of things that you can change. Okay, I will let you look at it if you are interested. To quit R, we already saw it, but I never wrote it, so I wanted to have it here. Save your script, okay, save it here. I don't want to change it, so I'm not saving it, but save it. Or if it's the first time, click Save As. You call it however you want and you save it with the first option, default option it gives you. And yeah, you should be doing this constantly while you are coding, so it doesn't happen what happened to me the other day, that the computer died and I lost the last hour of work. So keep saving all the time. When you quit R, it's going to ask you if you want to save the workspace image. That means if you want to save this, the environment. If you want to save these observations, we mentioned before, usually I don't do it unless I have been working with big models that took like hours to run, or even a piece of code that takes like 15 minutes. Now I have one I wrote yesterday and it takes like, I don't know, 3-4 minutes, and that just annoys me. I don't want to have to run that every time and wait 3 minutes every time. So I'm just gonna either save it or create a new CSV file with the modifications I did. Here you have in summary, you have a summary of what we did with each of the functions, okay? So you know what we've done for dplyr. And that's all for today. Next time, yeah, we did this last time, so that is done. And yeah, we did this. We didn't do it today, so yeah. So next time we're not going to do that. Next time what we're going to do, I'm already preparing for that. I'm going to start with network. We're going to introduce the ggplot package inside the network class. Okay, so I'm going to focus it a little bit more. The ggplot package, I'm going to focus it on networks. And we are going to plot and map a network. Okay? After that, once we do that, for the next classes, I'm going to go a little bit more into the theory of the networks. But before doing theory, like that boring part, I want to show you how to map it and how to visualize it and how to change the things so you can see like beautiful things before getting into the boring theory of it. Okay?